to start doing a video series called Aerial Term Tuesday because I feel like in beginner classes that are often mixed level, we come into a class and the teacher just starts throwing out lingo, and it's hard for teachers to remember from week to week who is where, and especially with sessions that are constantly rotating and like a base of students that are always changing. Sometimes they're throwing out lingo, thinking everyone there is on the same page and knows what it means. So there is a collection of terms that I've put together that I'm going to go through and make separate videos for. The first one that I want to look at is progressions, because most of us know what the word progress or progression means generally, but when used in an aerial sense, it's got kind of more of a specific meaning to it. It's based off of a progression of movement. Progression is kind of like an add-on to a skill that you already know how to do. So say you know how to do Mermaid or Star, you would be adding something that makes it a little bit more challenging for you. So this is especially helpful in mixed level classes because sometimes students need something that's a little bit more challenging than what everybody else is working on. So teachers can individually go up to people and say, I want you to try doing this or adding this. And it changes the movement a little bit, but usually it's still under the same name. So for example, with a mermaid, when you're first learning Mermaid, you don't really want to point your toes. That feels kind of scary because your legs are what's holding you up on the bar. Another example in Mermaid would be taking a leg off. So instead of keeping both of your legs on, for Mermaid you take one of them out. Another example of a progression would be taking your arm off. Progressions can be built on. There's often not just one for any particular movement. There are usually a combination of them. You can often combine different progressions. With the mermaid example, you can take your leg off and you can take your arm off. Those are two things that you can do in conjunction with each other, but you're likely only going to be trying one at a time when you're first starting out. Another example would be the splits away progression. When you're in this L sit, this can already feel scary for some people as it is. But then the added element of taking your foot off, and so you just have that one foot holding on, that can be really intimidating for a lot of people. So that is another example of a progression. Progressions can be really simple or they can be really complex. The simple progressions are the ones that you do first, and then you might be gravitating into the more complicated ones. The simpler progressions are going to be more things like taking a hand off, taking two hands off, releasing your arms after doing something that's like being held by another point of contact, like cuddle, for example. That can also feel scary, especially for people just starting out and you're not sure it's going to hold you because you've never done it before. So taking your hands off is that next step to make it a little bit more challenging, or just to kind of explore what you're capable of. The next example would be Star. The first thing that you normally do when you learn Star is you learn how to wiggle off. So you're on the bar and they kind of just teach you to like wiggle off and then, fly back. But honestly, that's super terrifying because you don't always have it in your mind that the bar is there to catch you, because you kind of have to trust that when you go down and you're coming off of the hoop, that you're also going to land on that area of your back at the right time. Your legs are going to hit the bar at the right time. Since that kind of wiggle off can kind of be intimidating for a lot of people, some teachers will offer the fan kick instead, and that's actually easier for some people, but for others it can be even more intimidating because you have to know how to fan kick. So if you're going into Star and instead of wiggling off, you're just kind of. Sometimes progressions and transitions to other movements are one and the same. They're normally just additions to a movement that already exists. For example, with Star on the bar, you can take it into that half back balance with one foot on the top bar and one leg coming off, and you move into that from Star. So that is a progression from Star, but it also has a name. So that is that half back balance. Even though it's another move, it's still a progression from star. Other than that, I would say a general progression is just going to be things like taking your hands off, taking a leg off, anything that really makes it more challenging or deviating from that original movement somehow.